Well, I got these wires from, I think it was a Tennessee Speed Shop or something. I don't know what the hell it was again. But before I put them in, and obviously I've been having some rain issues here in Florida. It's like raining out like crazy. Anyway, but before I put them in, I'm going to spray them down with some of this stuff. The UV protectant, aerosol protectant. Because it does, not that these wires are freaking probably last 20 years. The ones that are already in here are 20 years old. And I did burn one of them recently because I had it up against the manifold, after I did the cam and stuff. So I figured, I'd change them. They're 20 years old. So this is for the small block Chevy, 18436-572, right? It goes like that. This side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 is down there and 7's down there, right? So should be the right length for the HEI. I'm going to spray them down and let the junk dry on them before I put them in there. I might put them in tonight. The way I like doing them is because you got to find, when you get pre-cut, they're not always exactly, the same pre-cut as your last set, right? So, you might, to match them up the best, I always like taking them off and putting them in order, 1 through 8, right? I'll have to lay them on something around here that is not wet, maybe the trunk lid of this thing. I was going to lay them out there, but obviously this thing, that's why I've been slowing down and doing a lot of stuff. But flip them over, do the other side. I'll probably do this tomorrow because I'll let this dry. I'll just stick it under the carport over here and where all my tools are. Put this thing like this, let it dry, and they'll be protected. And before I install them, I'm going to put a little bit of either dielectric grease or maybe like WD-40 in all the boots. Actually, the best thing is to use the dielectric grease because the boot doesn't get stuck on a spark plug. Usually that's not really a big problem with high quality wires like this. I think these are from Tennessee Racing or something. I'll tell you where I got them from. And it's a good thing to do. I never used to do this though. Sometimes they clean them off with some WD-40 so they look pretty, but this is an actual protectant. So with their Taylor 8mm. So what I like doing, like I'm doing, is lay them out. So I'll take off, it's like 1, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5, 7, 2, going around like that. So I'll take off number 1, and I'll put it like over here. Then I'll take off number 8. Then the next one on the opposite side of number 1 is number 2. So I'll put number 2 over here, and I'll lay them out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then I take the new set and I match them up the best I can to the old set. Because even though they're tailor fit, they're not going to be exactly the same length. You don't want to take one wire out and say, that's about the same, because, maybe this set is, one's a little inch shorter, one's an inch longer or whatever, and you'll get fouled up and you might have to switch something around. I always like laying them out 1 through 8, and then, knowing where number 1 starts on it and what the rotation is. In this case, it's this way, 1, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5, 7, 2, and, then you just put them back in. You say, take number 1, and then you do number 2. Then you might grab number 8, because, 8 is on the opposite side of number 1, right? Because it's like, 1 is here. It's, it's 1, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5, 7, 2. So 1 is here. You install number 1. So you grab that one, which would be over here, if you lay them out 1 through 8. Then you say 8 is the next one. You grab number 8. Then the next one would be number 2, and I go to number 2. And then you would say, 4, 3, so you do 4, then 3, and then then after that it's like there's not that many wires left, so 5, 7, 2, right? So then you grab number 7 over there to be next to number 2, and you only got a few left. That's how I kind of do it. I try to jump back and forth. I try to grab them in the order of how they're laid out, 1 through 8, and also in the order of the distributor cap. So like you can go, you put number 1 on first, then you put on number 8, then you put on number 2. Then you can put on, 5, 7, 2. You can put on number 7. Then you can do 4 and 3. Then, you only have a few wires left. You'd be going 3 through 6, right? That was the only thing. No, you'd have 4 through 6. You'd have 4, 5, and 6 left. That's all you'd have left. That's why you don't get fouled. Well, hopefully I'm explaining that right, but that's my method. Actually, Ford, some of their motors, they got 2 different types of firing order. Some of their motors actually have the 18436.572, 18436.572, but it's the way they label the engine. Instead of calling this one number 1, they call that number 1. They go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Chevy and Mopar and all the GM and the Mopars and Chrysler, you know, Plymouth and Dodge are all the same. Ford's a little different, but sometimes their firing order is actually the same, but since they call that number 1, it's like that'll be number 2, you know, and you'd have to think about where it is. But if you imagine if it's one of those Fords like that, some of them aren't, some of them aren't. If it's one of those Fords like that, you can always imagine, like, you know, on Ford, this would be number 5. So you might call it number 1 in your head. Just remember where 5 is on there, right? And just install them the same way as the Chevy. That's how I would do it. Because I can't remember the Ford firing orders. They got a couple of different ones. I know they label them different. They go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, but whatever. And Chevy is, you know, 15, 36, 24. The way I used to remember it is, and I know people get mad at saying this, you know, 15 is too young, 36 is too old, and 24 is just right. It's the old freaking thing. Everybody knows that if you're a mechanic from way back. And of course, 36 not too old, 63 is not too old. Okay, fine. But that's how you remember the firing order for the Chevys and all the straight 6s. You know, the Ford 6s and slant, the 225 and 170 cubic inch Mopar, Dodge, Plymouth 6s and all that garbage. So anyway, we're going to let this dry, and then we're going to install them. And I'll show you what I mean about how you lay them out. But we're just going to let this, well, you'll see it in 2 seconds. I won't see it until probably tomorrow if this rain stops and this thing's dried. But it's the first time I'm using this junk. So, anyway. See, you know, I got to get going on this because I got my bike parts coming in. And we're going to be doing videos on changing out the wheel bearings, tires, greasing the neck, changing the fork oil, doing a primary chain and engine sprocket, redoing the swing arm bearings, and probably installing grease fittings in there, changing the rear sprocket. A bunch of little minor shit on a bike. And, you know, we'll do some videos on that. I want to get that thing done. I'm actually going to pull off the tires that probably only got, I don't know, 500 miles on them because they're 5.5 years old. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of my tires that are hanging up in there, which are really old. Get rid of them, and I'm going to spray down the ones that are 5.5 years old with this shit, put them in a clear plastic bag, hang them up, and use them. If I ever need a tire, you know, in a real emergency, not for like long distance highway cruising, I'll be set. I'll be installing the Avon Roadmaster tires. I actually install all my tires on these cars, all this El Camino, with that thing, which has the Confederate emblem on it. I've installed them on this thing, that thing, the boat trailer, I don't know, some other junk. Oh, that car there, that blue car. Got 4 new snow tires for that. We're going to go up north. So, you know, I do everything myself. That's the minor stuff. But we got, you know, if ever needing to do major stuff, we'd be doing that too. But we got to get these wires on here, get the thing timed up. It does run good. And we'll be moving this car over to here. And then we'll be using this with the old Dixie horn, you know. So there'll be some videos on that. Actually, my motorcycle fits in the back of the thing perfectly. I got a ramp for it too. Anyway, over now. Who's in my cat bed? I made that out of truck bed liner and I put a towel in there. It's Feather. Right, Feather? Meow, meow. Okay, so like on the distributor cap, I already put a white dot where the 1 is. Actually, 1 should be standard position over here, but as long as it's pointed to 1, you got enough room to move the distributor back and forth for timing marks. It seems like at best 1 would work here better than right there, but we'll see how this works out. But it's, you know, 1, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5, 7, 2, right? So what I do is I take off 1 first, and I'll lay it out on the ground right down there. Then I'd say this is 8, then I'll put 8 on the opposite side. Then 2 is the last one because it's 1, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5, 7, 2. So I'll take out 2. Then 3 and 4, and what is it? 1, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5, 7. So then it'll be the one. There's 3 left. It'll be 5, 6, and then 7. But I lay them out in order like that, so you got the lengths. Now what I should have done was, you see, I burned this one right here. I should have had it. When I put these back on, this wasn't on there, but when I start up the engine, this went to the manifold. Should have had it like this with a tie, but make sure I do that on the new ones. Had that one down there, so we'll cut those zip ties, and we'll probably see the wires are they already got the coating on them now, that 303 stuff, and I'll make sure I put the what do you call it, zip ties on there, because so I got this on the heater wires, not too tight though, and these work better than the stupid looms. I mean, like, the looms are okay, but zip ties work better. Then we'll cut those off and we'll start laying them out. So this way you match them up, then you can just put them back on. You go 1, 8, whatever. You just put them in order, but you just pull them off of there. You pull them off the same way. I take that one, then I'll do 8, then I'll do number 2. Then I'll say, you know what I'm saying, so I don't mix them up. It's always good to put them in order. I don't lay them out 1, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5, 7, 2 on the ground. I actually lay them out 1 through 8. To me, it's less confusing, to tell you the truth. That's the way I do it. And then I match them up, because the wire lengths, when you get a custom set, they're always a little bit different. It'll be like an inch or 2 different. So you want to get the ones that are the closest to whatever worked in here already, and then you'll be fine. So you just lay them out like that and match them up. Usually, 7 and 8, which are on the back of the cylinder, 7 and 8, 7 and 8 are the short ones. So you can see there's the short ones. Usually 1 and 2 are longer ones. I don't know why the hell I got a long one over there for number 6, but that's what I had. I think it's because of the way I wrapped it around the, I hooked it up to where the heater wires were, and got it up out of the way of the exhaust. But they also give you a little bit of grease to install them. Right here. Dielectric grease, which I have a whole big tube of this stuff. That's good to put on there because it keeps the corrosion out. And when you put it on anything, a lot of people say you're supposed to put it on top of a connection or something. Say like you're doing a battery connection or a regular connection, or you're just doing like I don't know, you're bolting on a connection like that. It's like an eye bolt, whatever the hell it is, an eye connection on the. You put it right on the metal surface that's going to be connected. The reason being is the grease crushes out of the way, and it forms a barrier all around there. It doesn't interfere with the electrical contact of anything. You actually put it on the connection itself. It forces its way out of there, and it's right on the edge where moisture can get into the metal on metal contact and cause corrosion. So this is from Taylor Ignition. I don't know, I think it's from Tennessee Racing or something on eBay. So these are pretty good wires. So we'll put this junk on here. I got a bunch more of this stuff. We'll put it on the ends. So it goes up there on a distributor cap end, and also on the the spark plug end. And it makes it easier for the things to come off. And also, these were good wires that were on here. Only one of them's burnt, but they're still 20 years old. These are it's got a few straight ones, a couple straight ones, and it's got the curved ones. But you see how easy these are to pull off? These are solid little ends on here, man. These ain't cheap. They look good, red ones too. So, anyway, made in the US of A. See that? Made in the United States. That's why I got them too. Yeah. Well, she runs nice and smooth. Just want to make sure I broke the cam in long enough, but under 15 minutes. I'll probably get it about 25 minutes or so. But I don't hear no ticking noises, and it does run a lot smoother with them wires in it, so good to go, baby. Next, we gotta time it tomorrow. Running out of time during the day, man. Here's my motorcycle tires. You gotta get them things on here as soon as I get them bearings in. Yeah. I don't hear any lifter noises, but that one burnt wire, I'm gonna save those wires, those ones down there. Except for that burnt one, I'll just put it in a box. Because they're still, they could be used as a spare. You never know, man. Keep them spare parts. So anyway, that's a wrap. It does run pretty damn smooth, man. Oh, like a brand new motor, although it's old as shit.